Hey guys, it's Mook here, and today I just wanted to talk about why lighter mice are better than heavier mice. So I've already made a few videos about weight reduction on gaming mice, and I've got a few coming up also, but it occurred to me the average gamer probably just thinks I'm butchering mice, so I thought I'd explain what the point is. It should be noted, pretty much every FPS pro uses a mouse lighter than like 90 grams. And if you're one of those people who just loves having loads of buttons on your mouse, because I used to be like that, maybe you play loads of Fortnite or Warzone and you want the best compromise with, loads of buttons and the lightest weight, and I've got the perfect suggestion coming up, and I've also got a weight reduction on it planned, so definitely sub if you want a notification for that. So we're going to be two parts of this video. First, going to be explaining why lighter mice are better. That's pretty straightforward. In the second part, I'm going to be talking about my own experiences and how I went from using this G502, well not this G502, I went from using a G502, which is like 120 grams, to a 59 grams G Pro wireless, which is like half the weight. So the first aspect, Newton's second law, the force of an object is equal to its mass multiplied by its acceleration. This means as you bring the mass of a mouse down while still exerting the same amount of force to move your mouse, the acceleration will increase. This effectively means your crosshair will arrive over your target faster. And some people might think it's insignificant, but when you have as low sense as me, 3200 EDPI, you really don't want to be lugging this around the mouse mat. And my sense isn't that far from normal. Defran, an ex-Overwatch League Tracer main, plays on 3400 effective dots per inch, or EDPI. Also, lighter mice have less inertia. Inertia is basically a force required to make an object come to rest. You can kind of think of it as stopping force. So particularly when flicking to a target, you need to be able to really quickly move the mouse around the mouse mat to an exact position. A lighter mice means you'll feel less resistance at the start and particularly at the end of the flick when trying to stop the mouse and land on that exact target, which means you're less likely to overshoot and therefore more likely to hit your target. If you have doubts about this and you're a heavy mouse user, I definitely recommend trying a lighter mouse. Even like 20 grams lighter and you'll feel the difference pretty much instantly. And you might not like it at first, but definitely invest some time because overall it will improve your aim. So now my own experiences. I'm going to be honest, I first started using a mouse and keyboard on PS4 using a Zim Apex converter. I'd been playing with a controller pretty much my whole life, and when I got to like higher masters I realised it's actually a lot more common than I thought, and I kind of had the mentality of if you can't beat them, just join them. So at the time I just bought the cheapest mouse and keyboard off Amazon and it was absolutely terrible. The mouse looked nice and subtle, but the sensors were just terrible. And using the keyboard for me was just not natural at all. I'd obviously been using one thumb to move, and now I was forced to use three fingers. And also, whilst I was on the controller, I had kind of like jump and crouch and any aiming ability, not bound to my right thumb, so I could kind of aim and use all my abilities as well. So I had to get kind of used to being able to crouch, jump and everything else with my left hand. So I decided to have a Google for WASD alternatives and I found this. It's a PS3 navigation controller. As you can see, it's only got kind of a few buttons which are accessible. And before I met the time actually said that, so it said, get a mouse with loads of buttons. So yeah, I'm on Amazon, I literally just searched gaming mouse and this came up. It's a Logitech G502, it's got a lot of nice features. It weighs about 120 grams and I couldn't afford it. It was like over 50 quid at the time. I decided to get this instead. It's a Logitech G402. At the time I thought it was just like a cheaper version of this basically, but it's actually kind of a bit better for FPS gaming because it's quite a bit lighter. I think it weighs around 108 grams without cable, so it's pretty good. So yeah, this is my setup. I was just using these two and it worked pretty well for a while. Like I said, I was playing on console and I'd say after a few months I kind of got quite frustrated. I realised the mouse input was really fake, and what I mean by that is, I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it emulates an analog stick, and ultimately it was a good thing because it just made me get a PC. So I was kind of just getting to around the same rank on mouse and keyboard as I was on controller, so it was a little frustrating kind of just leaving that and moving to PC, but ultimately it was a good idea because the kind of the mouse input was just too frustrating. And when I moved to Overwatch PC and I realised, it's a million times better, definitely do it if you're thinking about it. I realised how important low sensitivity is, And if you have doubts about that, check out this video by Jayne. He's an Overwatch League coach and provides quite a lot of detailed information. He did a Q&A regarding sensitivity, so it's quite good. I'll put a link in the description. So I decided I was going to have really low sensitivity, 3200 EDPI, and the wire was just driving me nuts. It was getting caught under and also just on the table, and I thought, you know, it's 2019 or whatever, why are we still using wires? And at the time, and even now, kind of wireless mice are quite rare. I think it's only really Logitech and Razer who have kind of explored the wireless mice industry. So at this time, I think the G502 was actually the only wireless mouse out which had loads of buttons. And I watched loads of YouTube reviews and everyone said how amazing it is, and you know, it is really good, but just not for FPS gaming. And I honestly thought, you know, I'm kind of bigger than the average gamer, and that weight wouldn't really make a difference, and boy was I wrong. Like even 20 grams, like I said, even 20 grams you will feel so significantly. So I decided to save up and get the G502 wireless, and it was great. I could literally flick forever and it didn't feel like, well, obviously nothing was getting stuck, but I think ultimately my aim had actually got worse, or definitely not got better. And I think it's because of the weight. It's only a tiny bit heavier, but you could really feel it. So I was using the G502 wireless for a little bit, and I found this old gaming mouse. I think it's like an old Razer Elite or something, and it's maybe 100 grams or so. So I decided to use that for a bit and just see how it felt. And you know, it was nicer, definitely. So when I realized that, I decided to do some more research and see what pros use, see what Overwatch pros use, see what CSGO pros use and whatnot. So I found a G Pro wireless. It's 80 grams. I've obviously modded it now to 59 grams. I've been doing that since kind of getting into the light mouse, or learning about the light mouse industry. Something I've really enjoyed. But I think my main point is, like, a tiny bit of a weight in a mouse really does make a difference. If you have a G502, like most people do, you know, maybe try using the G402. I'm actually gonna modify this G402 and see how light I can get it. So I'll be making a video on that soon. But yeah, thanks for watching.